start speaking, I would like to offer a small prayer. You can close your eyes. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjanashalakraya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantiram Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivan Sadvaitam Savadotam Parijana Santam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Shahantamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shri Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We'd like to welcome all of you all to today's youth program. We're going to speak on this topic of too busy to be happy, the search for happiness. The one thing that unites the 7 billion people in this world, there's one thing, that's the search for happiness. Each and every one of us, no matter what religion we are from, which country we are from, what is our age, what is our gender, what is our educational values, whatever it is, we're all looking for one common thing, desperately looking for one common thing, which is happiness. The problem is, how do you find happiness? The problem is, what really is happiness? All the experiences of happiness we have in this world are temporary, short-lived, doesn't last for too long. And even if we experience happiness in this world to some extent, something happens and we lose it. We again for searching for it. There was a king who went to a saintly person and he asked him that, can you help me find happiness? The saint told him, go to your garden and catch a butterfly and bring the butterfly back to me and I'll tell you how to find happiness. Now this king went, started looking for a butterfly in the garden and he found one, started chasing it. The more he was running after the butterfly, the more the butterfly was flying away. Just as he would jump on it, butterfly would fly. Now this guy, at a certain point, he was exhausted, totally tired. He just couldn't catch the butterfly. And then he was lying on the garden, completely exhausted. And suddenly, the butterfly came and sat on his nose. This guy, the king, he went to the saintly person and shared his experience with him. And the saintly person told him, this is what happiness is. This is how happiness is. When you run after it, it runs away from you. But when you stop chasing it, it comes and sits on you. So the question is, what exactly is happiness? How do you exactly experience happiness in this world? That's what we're going to discuss today. Everyone today is busy. But they are so busy that they have no time to be happy also. Albert Einstein, he said, life is like riding a bicycle. Now, when you're riding a bicycle, if you want to keep the balance, what do you have to do? The only thing you have to do while riding a bicycle to keep a balance is keep moving. Because if you stand in one place, you fall, you lose your balance. So for many people, life has become like that, like riding a bicycle. You have to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. For one minute, if you stand and think where you are going, you will fall. So a lot of people have fear of pausing, taking a pause in their life. They have a lot of fear of stopping and thinking which direction am I going in. Because we feel, if I take a pause, if I take a breath also, life will go out of balance and I will fall. This session today, what we are doing, Festival of Umang, the whole concept behind these festivals is to help us take a 1 hour pause in our life from running. You potentially on a Saturday afternoon could have been running so much in so many directions today. In a mall, on the roads, on the beachfront. You could have been running anywhere. But the fact is that you all chose to take out 1-2 hours of your time and sit without running. Hopefully, this sitting in one place will give you a better direction of which direction to run in. One time, I was traveling from one city to another in India. And we were traveling in the middle of the night. Literally at 12 o'clock in the night. With 3-4 of us in the car and a driver. And we reached a certain point where we were confused whether to go left or right. Those days there was no GPS system. So now we had no idea whether to take a left or right. The driver was highly confused and so were we. Now how do you decide whether to go left or right? And there was no one in the vicinity. We decided what is most common sense to do. Toss a coin. Left. If it falls heads means left and tails means right. We tossed a coin and said it came tails and we went right. You can imagine the driver, he was not speeding up at all. He was like literally going at a snail's pace. We were telling him, come on, we have to reach our destination, go fast. And this guy is saying, I'm trying. No confidence only to press the accelerator. After going about 10-15 kilometers ahead, we found one guy on the road. And we asked that fellow, what is the direction to this place? And that guy said, you have come 15 kilometers ahead, you will take that left. And then from that point onwards, the driver started driving at 120 speed. Of course, in Mauritius 120 may not be big, but in India 120 is like the highest speed you can ever go. Why? What was the inspiration for the driver to drive so fast after getting the right direction? Because the moment you have direction, you can actually go much faster with clarity. There was a man who was driving at full pace and somebody stopped him and asked him, where are you going? He said, why are you stopping me? I'm not breaking any rules. I'm not breaking any laws. And I am following the traffic signals. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going very fast. Now what's the point in going very fast if you don't know where you're going? So this whole festival is to help us find a direction for life. Hopefully, something that you hear in the next 1 hour will give you some direction towards your own lives. I always say that life should be lived according to two things. A clock, which gives you speed. The clock tells you time. But along with the clock, you also need a compass. The compass gives you direction. Today, most people run at the speed of the clock only. And they don't care for the direction. They don't care for the compass. So this whole festival is to not just give you a clock, which is what the world is giving you, but this festival is to give you a compass, the direction with which you can run your life, the speed of your life. One time, there were 4 young boys who used to stay in a building. They used to stay on the 100th floor of the building. Now they were best of friends, they living together. One fine day they came to the house. When they came to the bottom of the house, they were just going to take the elevator to go up. They realized the elevator is out of order. Now can you imagine staying on the 100th floor, elevator out of order? Now they were really frustrated. They decided anyway we have to go up, so let us inspire each other, telling each other stories, and we'll reach up. So each one was telling stories for 25 floors. Finally they reached the 100th floor. After they reached the 100th floor, they realized they forgot the key below. Can you imagine, reaching so high, forgetting the key? Many times, this is exactly what happens to most of us in our lives. We are all climbing the ladder to success. In your education, in your careers, at every walk in life. At a certain point when we reach the pinnacle of what we consider to be success, we realize that the key to happiness is missing. Highly successful, at the top of the corporate ladder, but I am highly unhappy and lonely. That's when people realize, that's when people begin to wonder, what went wrong in my success formula? What went wrong because of which I am not happy in spite of being successful? Have you ever seen a beggar commit suicide? Historically, nowhere in the world you will ever find a beggar committing suicide. Who commits suicide? The richest guys in the world commit suicide. People who have enough and more, they are the ones who commit suicide. Why? Because the beggar may not be having much, but whatever he has, he is satisfied with it. Sometimes when you reach the peak of your success, you realize there's something missing in the formula. And that's what the whole concept of success is about. There's one very powerful definition of success, which is what the world considers to be success. The definition of success is the ability to spend money. So for most people, success means if I can spend unlimited amount of money without thinking, I am successful. But unfortunately, the definition of success itself keeps changing with time. Most people consider success means what the world thinks about you. That means having a certain type of car, having a certain type of house, having a certain type of gadget, having a certain type of job and bank balance and things like that. That's what is called as public victory from the point of view of the world. I'll tell you something very interesting that happened in my life in my younger days. When I was a small child, there used to be a boy who used to come to play with us. And this guy, he was very, very naughty. He was quite wild. This fellow, he would come and play games with us. Carom, chess, sports, all different kinds of sports, cricket. But this fellow had a very peculiar habit. The moment he finds out that he's going to lose the game, you know what he does? He throws everything. He'll say, change the game. We'll play new game. He would never allow himself to lose. He would throw everything and start a new game. Many times, this is what success is for in life. There are people who think that success means having a certain type of car. E-class Mercedes-Benz. And people struggle really intensely to buy that car. It's not a joke. In India, it costs about 90 lakh rupees. I don't know about Mauritius. To get that kind of money, people spend huge amount of energy, time, effort. Finally, you end up buying a E-class Mercedes-Benz. The day you buy a E-class Mercedes-Benz, that day they launch a new version, higher version of it. Now the definition of success has changed. So the day you think you have achieved it, the definition itself changes. This is what is called as public victory, unfortunately. The definition of success keeps changing. And therefore, For people who think charisma, gadgets, externals is what makes you successful, their definition of success keeps varying with time. The question is, how do you define success? Without understanding what happiness is, you can never understand what success is. The key to success lies in contentment, lies in happiness. There is a very interesting quote which I read, which really makes you very thoughtful. It says, how rich you are is determined by how many things you have that money can't buy. I'll repeat it. It says, how rich you are is determined by how many things you have that money can't buy. There are many things that money can buy, but there are some things that money can't buy. For example, contentment, satisfaction, happiness, relationships, love. These are things that money can't buy. So people who have a lot of money, because they don't have access to some things, they just feel empty. They just feel something is missing in their lives. And therefore, I would like to help you understand the definition of happiness, which the Bhagavad Gita gives us. The Bhagavad Gita is a life manual. Bhagavad Gita is a book that can actually help us understand every aspect of life. If you want to know anything about any aspect of life, you will always find an answer in the Bhagavad Gita. Now don't ask me, what is the name of Salman Khan's next picture? That may not be there in the Bhagavad Gita. But it's about life questions, The most important questions of life, what about doubts you have? The answers are there. So here is a definition of happiness in the Bhagavad Gita. And it also defines why this kind of happiness is not making us happy. The Gita says, Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonev evate. Many people have a misunderstanding of what really happiness is. People feel happiness comes from things. Actually, things can never give us happiness. For most people, there are actually only two people who can be really happy in this world. One is a mad person. Mad person is totally happy. You'll never find a mad person sad. Mad person is fully blissful. And the second person who is fully blissful is somebody who is an exalted devotee, saintly person. These are only two extremes that are, happy people in this world. Everybody else in between is struggling. Happiness, as long as it is an imagination, it's great. Like for example, if you pass by a Ferrari showroom, a car showroom, and you see these brand new Ferrari cars, sports car, really sleek looking, really shiny cars. What happens in the mind? Suddenly you have a thought, you have a desire. I wish I had this car. Right? I'm sure all of us have that one desire coming in. And suddenly you start imagining yourself driving the car on the streets, and what fun it will be, and how people will be looking at you and all that. As long as it is an imagination, it's great. I had a friend of mine who actually had a Ferrari car. Bought a brand new Ferrari car in Mumbai, in India. I don't know how many of you have ever gone to Mumbai. If you ever gone to Mumbai, you'll understand this better. But it's enough to say that Mumbai is a very crowded place. What is crowded? Anybody who has not gone out of Mauritius won't understand. In Mauritius, if you say something is crowded, you can never ever understand it. So in Mumbai, this guy owned a Ferrari car, paid a huge amount of money and bought the car. He came to the temple, to the place where I used to stay, and he told me, let's go for a long drive. First time I bought a new car, so I went with him, we had fun, it was a great car and all that. 1 week later, I saw this fellow in a taxi. He was going in a taxi. So I got puzzled. why would somebody who has a Ferrari car go in a taxi? Third class taxi basically. I called him up. I asked him, what happened to your Ferrari car? You know what this guy said? This guy said, you won't believe how much trauma I have gone through in the last 1 week. I said, what happened? He said, from the day I started driving the car, all the rickshawalas and the taxiwalas come so close to me, my heart is in my mouth literally, I cannot drive the car peacefully, Just imagine, such a huge amount of money I have paid for this car, but there's absolutely no peace of mind when I'm driving the car in the streets of Mumbai, And then he was telling me that even if I manage to drive, there's no place to park the car. And even if I park the car, there are people, in Mumbai there are some thieves, very intelligent thieves. If you steal a car, you get caught very easily. So they don't steal the car, they only steal the tires. All the 4 tires they take away. Can you imagine, you come back from the office and you see, car is there, but 4 tires missing. What do you do with such a car, So he said, I decided better not to drive only. Taxi is safe for my mind, mentally peaceful. So essentially, what is this concept of happiness? As long as it is an imagination, it's wonderful, it's great. But the moment it comes in reality, that's where the problems begin. Boy and girl fall in love with each other. And they think, wow, what an experience it is. And they think that marriage will take the experience to the next level. As long as marriage is an imagination, everything is great. But the moment you get married, that's when the reality is done. And then gone. All the imagination is just gone for a toss. So Krishna in the Gita, he says, Yahi samsparsha jaha hoga. Sparsha means touch. Samsparsha. It means that when senses come in touch with the sense objects, it creates an experience of happiness. When you touch something soft, it creates a sense of happiness. When you taste something nice, it creates a sense of happiness. When you hear something nice, it creates a sense of happiness. When you see something nice, it creates a sense of happiness. So, as soon as you experience touch, it creates a sense of happiness. But this verse, it says, Yahi samsparshaja hoga. The next step is dukkha yoneva evate. So it says the problem with this kind of pleasure is that it eventually becomes misery. It begins as pleasure, but eventually it ends up as frustration. Krishna says there are 3 reasons why all pleasure in this world ends up as pain. Whatever experience of happiness we have in this world, it begins with pleasure, but it ends with pain. He says, Adi Antavanta Kaunteya. He says, all experience of happiness has a beginning and an end. Let me give you an example. I many times like to give example of eating, because people love eating. And if you give them example of eating, they are like really happy. Suppose I give you a gulab jamun. I'm sure all of you know what a gulab jamun is, right? Suppose I give you a gulab jamun. I'm not guaranteeing you gulab jamun is outside. But imagine, imagine I'm giving you a round, succulent, soft, tasty gulab jamun in your hand. And you take the gulab jamun and you bring it next to your mouth. You can imagine what's happening, Excited, you're really eager to bite into it, you're really eager to eat it. Just imagine the pleasure that you experience when you bite into it for the first time. I mean, it just bursts in your mouth, so much nectar. Wow, it tastes so good. Now, if you take the same gulab jamun and bite it second time, does the taste, the experience of taste as good as the first time? No, it decreases a little bit. The third bite you have, the taste is decreasing a little more. By the time you finish the gulab jamun, it doesn't taste exactly as the first bite. Your taste is already decreased. Second gulab jamun, if I give you, the taste is not exactly the same as the first gulab jamun. Imagine you eat 10 gulab jamuns. By the time you eat the 10th gulab jamun, you are frustrated already. You are in pain. There is no more pleasure in eating the 10th gulab jamun, right? So Krishna is saying, Adi Antavanta Kaunteya. That means all experiences of happiness in this world begin with pleasure but end with pain. Same thing in the relationships. When it begins, it's great. But when it ends, it's miserable. It's said that before the marriage, the husband talks and the wife listens. After the marriage, the wife talks and the husband listens. After a few years of marriage, both husband and wife talk and the neighbors listen. This is the reality of all relationships in this world. When it begins, it is great, but when it ends, it is miserable. It's a lot of pain. So all experiences of happiness begin with pleasure, end with pain. The second reason why material happiness in this world, it's not so much lasting, is because there will always be someone or something waiting to spoil your experience of happiness. The experience of happiness can never be complete. Let me give you an example. In fact, I'll give you two examples. There was a very senior person in ISKCON many years before. He shared this experience with us, very graphic experience. Now, he had saved for a holiday to the Hawaii Islands. He saved a huge amount of money, to go to the Hawaii Islands for a holiday. Now, who won't want to go to the Hawaii Islands for a holiday? Everyone is excited. Highest holiday destination in the world. Now, this person saved a huge amount of money to go to the Hawaii Islands for a holiday. And finally, he reached over there. And you can imagine the excitement, He decided, I paid so much money, I want to make the best use of it. He dropped his bags in the hotel room and ran into the beach. And as soon as he ran into the beach, as soon as he entered into the beach, the sand was hot like hell. Really burning hot sand. He couldn't stand on the sand for 1 second also. He ran into the beach because he thought he'll jump into the water and there he'll be cool, So when he ran into the water, as soon as he reached the water, there was a big board over there that said, no swimming, sharks here. So now this person was thinking, what do I do? I can't go on the sand because it's burning hot. I can't go into the water because there are sharks over there. I paid so much amount of money. So he found a tree, a coconut tree on the beach side, and he said, I'm going to sit under the tree, under the shade of the tree, because I paid so much money. So he went and sat on the shade of the tree. And as soon as he sat there for 5 minutes, he saw all around him, there were scorpions. Can you imagine? He can't go on the sand, he can't go into the water, he can't sit under the tree also. This is the nature of this world. It checkmates you everywhere. You try this, some frustration. You try that, some frustration. One day, I was talking to a man, and this man was telling me about his life. He was telling me how his life is amazing. He said, I have the best of everything in this world. He said, I have the best wife in this world, so supportive. I have the best children in the world, so obedient. I have the best job, I have the best boss, I have the best salary, I have the best car, I have the best house. He was going on and on and on about how his life is perfect. So I was thinking something is wrong here. It didn't seem like the message of the Gita was resonating with what he's saying. How can everything be perfect? Finally, he said, but. As soon as he said that word, but, I started smiling. I said, after all, the Gita can't be wrong. And then he said, but, my mother-in-law. And then he started telling me about how this one lady in his life has made his life so miserable that his wife is bad, his children are bad, his job is bad, everything is bad because of this one person in his life. Each and every one has at least one person earmarked to make our life miserable. I'm sure all of you all have that one person in your personal life, who is specifically come to make you frustrated, basically. So, the experience of happiness we have in this world, first is that it has a beginning, and the second is that it has an end. And the second problem with the happiness in this world is that the level of happiness, the experience of happiness that we have, there is always someone or something meant to spoil your experience of happiness. And the third reason is that Krishna says, Na teshu ramate buddha. So here he uses the word Na teshu ramana. The word ramana means pleasure. So here Krishna is speaking about a different level of happiness. There is a type of happiness called as ananda. And there is another type of happiness which is known as sukha. In English, both, if you translate it, it means happiness only. But in Sanskrit, ananda and sukha are two different things. What is the definition of sukha? Sukha means happiness that lasts for a short period of time. In fact, the definition of sukha is the gap between two miseries. Right now I'm miserable. After 10 minutes I'm going to be miserable. The gap between two miseries is what I call as happiness. So there are a lot of people in this world whose experience of happiness is only for that 10 minutes. And in between the 10 minutes, if you ask them, how are you? They'll say, I'm happy. Actually, they are frustrated people. There was one guy, I love this story. I tell this story. There was one fellow who went to a psychiatrist. And he told the psychiatrist that, I feel like committing suicide. What should I do? The psychiatrist told him, I'll tell you what I do when I feel like committing suicide. Can you imagine? This guy is drowning in a quicksand. He's helping somebody else who's drowning in a quicksand. So he tells him, the psychiatrist tells him, whenever I feel like committing suicide, I go to a circus. And in the circus, there's one clown. And that clown is so hilarious. I forget all my problems of life. He said, I recommend you also go to the circus. That guy said, I am that clown. Can you imagine? Now, this is the nature of the world today. The nature of the world is people have smiling faces, crying hearts. You ask anyone, how are you? They'll say, I'm fine, first class, everything is good. That's when you ask them between the gap, between the two miseries. Before, if you ask them 10 minutes before, they'll say, I'm frustrated. You ask them 10 minutes later, they'll say, I'm frustrated. But in between, you ask them the right time, they'll say, I'm fine. That is sukha. The second understanding of happiness is ananda. Ananda means pleasure that originates from within. Ananda is the state of mind. And that is the kind of pleasure that we're talking about. So essentially, when we're talking about happiness, when we're talking about the search for happiness, we are not talking about happiness that comes and goes. We are not talking about happiness that originates from things outside. We're talking about happiness which is a permanent state of mind. And we're talking about the type of happiness that originates from within. It doesn't depend on things. It doesn't depend on circumstances. It doesn't depend on externals. But rather, it is a state of mind. When I was studying my engineering, we were sitting in a canteen and eating samosas. And all our friends were talking about how this samosa that we're eating is the best samosa we have ever eaten in our life. And we were just enjoying the samosa. Suddenly one boy came running and he said, results are declared. Now can you imagine, we are in between eating the samosa and this guy comes and says results declared. So all of us were like frozen. We couldn't take next bite. And fortunately, I had got distinction, I cleared, so I was happy, I continued eating. The samosa tasted same for me. The fellow who was sitting next to me, he came to know that he has failed in 4 subjects. That guy couldn't eat next bite. Same samosa, but now it started tasting stale. The question is, has the samosa's taste actually changed? No. His state of mind has changed. The way his mind is operating, that has changed. In this world, the mind plays a very crucial role in a lot of what we do in life. And the mind plays a very crucial role in all our experiences of happiness and pleasure. And misery also. And therefore, it is very important to first of all deal with our mind. The nature of the mind is to experience pain and pleasure, and it can actually make heaven into hell and hell into heaven, depending on how it is handled. If you know how to handle the mind, the experience of hell also can be heavenly. And if you don't know how to handle the mind, the experience of heaven can be hellish. In this world, people are extremely unable to deal with the mind. The nature of the mind is to always keep you dissatisfied, always keep you frustrated. And unfortunately, people are not ready to admit that I need help. I am frustrated. Nobody is ready to admit that I am frustrated. Only when you say that I am frustrated or when I am unhappy, somebody can help you. But if you never say I am unhappy, if you always say I am fine, who can help you? One time there was a circus that came into a village. Massive advertisement all over the village. And they called it a 25 paise circus. So now all the villagers, they were excited. What can you get in 25 paise? Nothing. They advertised massively 25 paise circus. So all the villagers, they wanted to attend the circus. Massive, huge tent. And there was a big line in front of the tent. Everybody wanted to attend the 25 paise circus. So the person who was taking the tickets, taking the money and giving the tickets, he said, only one person can attend the circus at a time. They said, what kind of a circus is this? Only one fellow goes in. He said, no, this is a specialized circus. Only one fellow can go in at a time. So everybody said, fine. So first fellow went into the circus, paying 25 paise. As soon as he went in, he got a shock of his life. It was an empty tent. Nothing was inside. So from the other side, one wrestler came. Massive, huge guy. He walked into the tent. This fellow said, I have paid 25 paise, start circus. The wrestler came to him and gave him one tight slap. He said, why are you beating me? His wrestler told him, do you get anything for 25 paise? And this fellow beat him left, right, center. He said, the only thing you get for 25 paise is beating. So he beat him black and blue. And this guy came out of that circus tent. And there are hundreds of people waiting over there. So everybody asked him, how is the circus? He said, first class. Everybody should see the circus at least once in their life. So every guy went inside the circus, got beaten badly, but nobody had the guts to say, I got beaten. Not even one fellow came out saying, this is typically the nature of the world today. People are mentally very frustrated. But you ask them, how are you? They say, I'm fine. Everything is great. The first quest in the search for happiness is the way you deal with your mind. Because the mind can fool you very badly. The mind can convince you that what you are thinking as experiences of pleasure and happiness in this world is not giving you happiness. The mind can tell you find happiness somewhere else. The nature of people whose mind is not in control is they keep looking for change in trying to become happy in this world. Unfortunately, no matter how much you change, change is not going to make you happy. There was a small boy actually, who wanted to have a holiday from school. And this boy, he wanted to play a trick on school so that he gets a holiday the next day. So he came back in the evening, he brought with him 3 sheep, lambs. And he numbered the 3 sheep, put the number 1 on the first sheep, he put the number 2 on the second sheep, and he put number 4 on the third sheep. And he sent the sheep into the school. He went back home. Next day morning, the cleaners and the staff came. They found all over the school there was sheep litter. They started running around to find the sheep. They found 3 sheep. 1, 2 and 4. Now they all started wondering, where is the number 3 sheep that is missing? They searched all over the school. They couldn't find the number 3 sheep. They declared a holiday. Emergency, one sheep is roaming around the school. What were they trying to find? The number 3 sheep that didn't exist. The nature of the mind is exactly like that. Each one of us have the 1, 2 and 4 as far as relationships is concerned, as far as gadgets are concerned, as far as bank balance is concerned, as far as the basic needs of life is concerned. But somehow, everyone is thinking that happiness lies in somewhere else. If I have the number 3 sheep, I'll be happy. So in the process of trying to get the number 3 sheep, people forget to experience joy in the 1, 2 and 4 that they already have in life. And that's what makes them miserable. And because they don't have something, they feel the other person has. If I have what the other person has, I will become happy. And that's what leads to comparisons. We constantly start comparing ourselves with others. The nature of comparison is to make you frustrated. Each one of us are unique creations of God and individual living entities. Instead of comparing ourselves with others, we have to learn to look at the uniqueness of God's creation in us. But unfortunately, what we do is we end up constantly comparing. Why do we compare ourselves with somebody else? The reason we compare ourselves with others is because we have somehow not accepted the realities of life. We have not accepted the reality of our own life. What is the advertising industry about? All the advertisements are purely to get you frustrated. Because advertisement is all about comparing yourself with others, right? In any advertisement or in any movie in this world, do you ever find people who are perfect? People who are absolutely perfect? You will never ever find it. People who are imperfect. You will never ever find imperfection, ugliness in movies or in advertisements. Why? Because that's what you want to see. But in reality, do you ever find perfection? You look yourself in the mirror. Do you ever find a perfect face looking at you back? You'll always find a lot of imperfections. But unfortunately, we cannot handle the imperfections, and therefore we start comparing ourselves with others. Rather than comparing ourselves with others, we need to learn to start experiencing what is known as satisfaction or contentment. And that's what is the next aspect of life. I spoke something about what is known as public victory. Public victory means what the world thinks about you. But more important than public victory is what is known as private victory. Private victory means what you think about yourself. Private victory means focusing on those things of life that money can't buy for you. Contentment, satisfaction, happiness, a sense of achievement, all that. Unfortunately, in this world, people are so much focused on externals, they have no time to focus on internals. There are 4 quadrants of life, which are known as the 4 Qs of life. PQ, IQ, EQ and SQ. PQ stands for physical quotient. Physical quotient is about external things like diet, sleep, exercise, so many things. Today people are expert in all this. There are enough coaching centers, enough gyms, there are enough places where you can get external fitness. But more important than PQ is IQ, which is known as intellectual quotient. That's what the universities are meant for, schools are meant for, colleges are meant for. People are also good enough at the PQ and IQ level. But the problem begins at the EQ and SQ level. EQ stands for emotional quotient. EQ is about your ability to handle crisis, your ability to handle your own emotions, your ability to handle other people's emotions, your ability to handle relationships. This is where the society is struggling with. And SQ is about integrity levels, business ethics, morality, value systems, principles that you follow in life. Here, the EQ and SQ levels of humans today, and I'm seeing in the country of Mauritius, I've traveled so much in the country of Mauritius, I've met thousands and thousands of people. And I can tell you, people are struggling intensely at this level, the EQ and SQ level. Intense struggle. Why? Because somewhere down the line, we have not taken out time to pause and reflect in which direction you're running. Let me tell you a story to explain this. There was a lady, an old lady, who owned a talking parrot. And this parrot was extremely good, perfect in talking. This lady loved the parrot. But one day, this lady, she felt that I should get a cage for this parrot. And she bought a golden cage, actual gold, a huge golden cage for the parrot. She put the parrot inside, but that's when the problem began. This old lady fell in love with the cage. She loved the cage more than the parrot now. And she kept polishing the cage. All day long, she would polish the cage so much to make it shine that she completely forgot to feed the parrot who was screaming inside. And eventually the parrot died. And then the cage also became useless. We may laugh at this lady, but that's exactly the situation of our own lives. All of us are focusing so much on the golden cage, which is the PQ and the IQ aspect of life. The golden cage is the externals. People spend so much time in front of the mirror combing their hair. People spend so much time in beauty parlors, spas. People spend so much time on the gym. People spend so much time on jogging tracks. People spend so much time focusing on diet, in eateries, and so much time on externals. Unfortunately, inside there is a parrot that is screaming in each one of us. The parrot is our own selves, the inner self. And that's what leads, today we call it a depression, we call it as loneliness, we call it as anxiety, we call it as frustration. All that is what? It's simply the parrot inside that is screaming for food, screaming for attention. So all of us have enough spent time on the PQ and the EQ and the IQ development. Let us spend time on developing the EQ and the SQ of life. That's what leads us to stability during crisis. Once there was a farmer who was passing by and he noticed something very weird. There was a mother eagle was flying once. And as she was flying, she laid an egg while flying away. And the egg fell on a haystack. And it rolled down and fell into a nest of hen. The mother hen had laid a few small eggs. And next to that, this big eagle's egg came and sat. Now, eagle's eggs are much bigger than the hen's eggs. So when the mother hen came, she saw that there was one big egg over there. She knew the egg doesn't belong to me. She was thinking, whose egg is this? But she said, it is in my nest. It's my responsibility to take care of the egg. She sat on it, helped to hatch it. All the other eggs broke and the chicken came out from it. But this big egg was not breaking only. Finally, after a long time, this egg broke. And from it came out a very ugly looking eagle baby. The mother hen didn't recognize the baby, but she said, anyway, it's come from my nest, maybe it's mine only. So she began to teach the eagle baby all the things that she would teach her children. How to eat grains from the ground, how not to fly, how to, run away when somebody chases you. Everything that a hen would teach its baby, it taught the eagle. Slowly the eagle started growing up and it started playing with the other hen. Can you imagine a massive eagle playing with small hens over there? So there was one saintly person who passed by and he saw this very weird sight. Eagle on the ground and playing with hens. So this fellow realized something is wrong here. So he took the eagle and took on top of a mountain. And from top of the mountain, this fellow threw the eagle into the air. As the eagle flew into the air, it didn't know how to fly. It was struggling so much. It flapped its wings and somehow or other fell down. This farmer took the eagle back again on top of the mountain. And this time he did something different. You know what he did? He took the eagle's egg, he took the eagle's head and turned it upwards towards the sun. And now for the first time in its life, the eagle ever saw the sun. I mean, the hen never sees the sun, right? They keep looking below only most of the times, The eagle saw the sun for the first time. And as soon as the eagle saw the sun, all its memories of who it is really came back to him. And he looked through the eagle into the air. And then the eagle started flying. It actually started flying so high. That's when it understood who it really is. All of us are like that eagle. We're all stuck at one place like this hen. Considering ourselves to be a small hen. But actually we have the ability to soar much higher. The nature of the living entity, the nature of the soul is to actually transcend, look from a very high platform. When thunderstorm happens, massive thunderstorm, hurricane, tornadoes, rains, lightning, the eagles have two options. How to handle it. I mean, can you imagine if it is raining so heavily, thunder and lightning, you can't fly at that time because the eagle is going to get wet. So the eagle has two options. The first option is the eagle comes on the ground and stays on the ground till the rain subsides. But have you ever seen an eagle on the ground in your life? Almost never. You will never ever see an eagle on the ground. The eagle always follows the second option. You know what is the second option of the eagle? The second option is to fly higher than the clouds that create the storm. The eagle always flies higher. Similarly, those who have a very strong EQ and SQ as a background, when storms come into their life, when crises come into their life, when they go through a lot of frustration in their lives, they don't come on the ground and start crying. But they know how to soar higher. They know how to deal with it from a much higher platform. Because they are the ones who have actually learned to focus on the EQ and SQ aspect of life. So, in today's session, what we actually saw was all of us in this world have the potential and the strength of learning from this eagle to go and transcend to the other platform, to the higher platform. And for that, we need to remember these few things that we discussed about. The first thing is that we have to learn how to deal with the mind. Because the mind can be our best friend and our worst enemy. And if the mind is controlled, our experience of happiness in this world will be much greater. Because for us, happiness won't depend on external things, but it will depend on the state of the heart, the state of the mind. And for us to be able to develop a powerful mind, the first thing we have to stop doing is comparing ourselves with others and accept the realities of who we are and what we are. And to be able to accept the realities of who we are, we need to really learn to align ourselves with the SQ and PQ element of our lives. And only when we align ourselves, rather than just focusing on the PQ and IQ element, which we already have focused on all our life, we need to learn to spend a little more time on aligning ourselves with the EQ and SQ element, which is what these sessions are meant for. The EQ and SQ element of life is the compass which we're talking about, is the direction which we're talking about. We all have speed, we all are running on the speed of the clock, but what we need is a compass. EQ and SQ is all about having the compass in our hands. Umang, this festival, and the whole experience of youth connects that we're talking about in this place is to only help you all to develop your EQ and SQ element. I would highly recommend all of you all to please stay connected with this group of young people who are trying to help you personally in your lives. Now, they are not going to get anything out of this festival. Don't think they are organizing this festival so that they can make some money. No one makes any money from these festivals. In fact, they make losses only. But what we are actually going ahead to do these festivals is simply with one motive. The one motive is to somehow or other help each and every one of you experience the experience of happiness that we spoke about, which is lasting happiness. Not sukha, which is temporary. We're talking about ananda, that is permanent. Not sukha, that is based on externals, things, but ananda, that is based on the state of the heart. So let me welcome all of you all to our family here. And I would highly urge all of you all to stay connected and learn from the ocean of knowledge that is available here. We have some amazing speakers and we have some amazing wisdom of deep learning and knowledge here in this assembly. I would highly urge each and every one of you all to stay connected and explore that. Thank you very much.